Hey guys, it's Di from BeingMommywithStyle, and today I'm going to share how I made this Valentine's Day wreath for our front door. Here are the supplies I'm going to be using for my Valentine's Day wreath. I just have this wreath frame that was $2.99 regular price, a Hobby Lobby, and I already had this on hand. I've likely used a coupon for it. Then I picked up this burlap ribbon when it was on sale for 50% off one week. This was in the regular burlap ribbon section at Hobby Lobby. So it was about $3, and I bought 3 rolls of that so I don't run out. It's just a really pretty red color, which looks a little bit darker because I'm doing this video at night. Then I picked out this heart burlap ribbon, and hopefully gonna make it through with one spool that's about 6 yards worth. So we're gonna hope that this goes all the way around. I'm gonna use this as my center accent all the way around the middle, and I got this in the Valentine's Day section. I believe it was 40% off the $6.99 price. Then I got these cute little hearts that I want to make little banners out of for around the house, and I thought I could incorporate them into my wreath somehow as well. So to start out, all you have to do is use some of this twine, which I also got at Hobby Lobby a number, I think years ago, actually, since I've been making the burlap wreaths. And I'm going to use this to tie my strands of burlap onto the wreath. And then I'm just going to poke the burlap through, which I'll show you how to do this, and alternating it through each of the center of these pieces. So on previous wreath tutorials, I have gone pretty quickly because I thought it seemed pretty straightforward, but I have been asked to slow down a little bit and talk a little slower as well. So I will attempt to do that so you guys can see how it starts, but it's really quick and easy. I'm actually gonna make this hopefully within like 15 minutes before I do dinner. So let's get started. I'm just gonna pick an arbitrary point on my wreath, find one of these little metal pieces, and I'm gonna tie my starter strands of burlap here on the wreath. So to start out, I have one of these spools of red burlap, and I've just cut a hole here in the middle of it, and I've left a little piece right here on the burlap so it's not too close to the edge. And the same thing with my heart burlap. I've cut a hole there as well, and I've put it about a fingertips away from the edge so it doesn't just pull off and pull through. Then I have 2 of these strands of the twine, and I'm just gonna push that through the hole, and I'm gonna get this ready to tie on the wreath. Now I like starting from underneath, so I'm gonna pick up my wreath frame, and I've just chosen this as my start spot. And you can tie this on whatever way you want, but I'm gonna make this is loop number 1, this track that goes all the way around. I'm gonna be calling this 1. I'm gonna be calling the center one 2. So this is 2 right here. I'm gonna be calling this one 3. So this is the 3rd one. And I'm only gonna be tying 2 on because I will be using the same burlap for the 3rd row, and I'll show you how to do that. So to start out, I'm just going to take it from the underneath side. I'm gonna take this twine, and I wanna get it so that my burlap is tied to this wreath frame. And it can be really crude. It doesn't matter what it looks like because the burlap is going to puff up, and you're not gonna be able to see the strings. You can cut these off later. You're not gonna be able to see the tie. But this is how we're gonna be pushing the burlap through from the start point. So I'm gonna go ahead and tie off the heart ribbon, which is my accent ribbon that's gonna go through the center. I'm gonna go to track number 2, which is this area here in the center. So 2 is the one in the middle that goes all the way around. And I'm going to put 1 piece of twine on either side, and I'm going to tie this off. I'm just doing a simple knot, and then I'm just knotting it down twice. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut off these extra pieces, just so there's not, you know, a bunch hanging out. But again, it doesn't matter what they look like. So to push it through, so I have 2 pieces of attached burlap, and we are gonna use all 3 tracks. But to use all 3, what I'm gonna do to start out is I'm taking the burlap and I'm folding it in half just a couple inches, and I'm taking it and pushing it through this first track on the burlap, and I'm just making it as puffy as I want. You can make like really huge ones if you want to come like all the way out here. I'm just gonna be doing moderate ones because I wanna be conservative with my burlap. And then in the center, this is already tied in the center. I'm gonna be doing the same thing. I'm gonna take this heart print, I'm gonna pull it through, pushing it from behind, and I'm just gonna make a little burlap little loop. That's all it is, okay? So you're gonna push that through. Now, I want the red to be on the bottom to make a nice full wreath. So I'm also going to take the same burlap that's already wound through, and I find that it helps to push this down and kind of hold it down there with one hand. And then you can take the burlap that's already attached with this hand, and I'm gonna push it through the third one and pull that through and make a little loop. And this is going to hold my second piece in place. So then this is what it's gonna look like all the way down. Red, heart, red, red, heart, red. And I'm gonna alternate all the way down. So then I'm gonna go from the third loop. So you can see the burlap's coming out of the third one right here. And I'm going to take it up here to the top, and I'm going to push it up and through and make my loop as big as I want it. Now I can make really big loops with the red because I've got 3 spools back here. So if I wanted to make a really, really puffy wreath, I could. I'm gonna try to be conservative though because I only bought 1 heart burlap. So this is what it looks like on the back side. You can see it's not pretty, but it doesn't matter what it looks like because that's gonna be on the door. So the burlap is coming out of the first track right here, just using my finger to push it down. And I'm gonna pull this heart material from behind, push it through, pull it through, and make a little puff here in the center. As big as you want. You can make it really big and puffy, or really dramatic wreath, or you can make it nice and dainty. Mine's probably gonna be smaller. And you just pull it through. Now you can shape this later, so don't worry about the shape. You just wanna make sure you have as much as you want pulled through right now because it's harder to adjust it later. So then this is going through the back part. I'm gonna take the burlap, cross it over. It comes through the third track. And I'm gonna make a little puff right here, and that's as big as I want it. And we're just gonna keep continuing to do this all the way around. So I'm back up at the top and to the middle and then down to the bottom, and I'm just gonna continue this around as my wreath comes together. All you do to do this loop, I get more questions on this than anything else. You take the burlap from behind, you just push it through with your finger and then pull it through the top. And then you just kind of fluff it out to make sure it's as big as you want. That is all you do to make that loop. It's super, super easy, guys. Don't overcomplicate it. I love doing this process because it's so therapeutic. They come out so nice. And I find this process to be like super nice and relaxing. So you just alternate your colors down. And I'm gonna keep going all the way around, filling up my wreath. So I'm about halfway around the wreath, and I've hit a point where I'm getting ready to run out of red burlap. So what do? So this burlap has a finished edge, and what I have done over the years I found is easiest. I just take the burlap and I cut 2 small holes, again about a finger's tip away from the edge so you don't pull it. I'm gonna take the next piece of red burlap, and I try to buy these at the same time so that way the tones match, because sometimes if you buy them at different times the tones may be slightly different. So try to make sure that you're gonna have plenty for your project. You're going to cut that in about the same spot. Then I'm just gonna take 2 small pieces of twine, and I'm going to use those pieces of twine to tie the burlap together. So I'm gonna find my hole and put the twine through here, and then find the hole on this side. I'm just gonna take it, and again, it doesn't matter how crude it looks because it's going to be covered up. And I'm just gonna tie this in a knot, and then you can cut your ends off so that the ends aren't showing. And then this is gonna make it one long piece of burlap. So then I'm just gonna take my other strand, same thing, punch it up through the hole, and put it through the hole on the second piece, and then just tie that off. So this is what it looks like when it's all tied together, and then I've got a whole nother strand of burlap here to go. So I'm just going to keep pushing my loops through on the wreath and continue on with my longer strand of red burlap now. So I'm going to start again here with top and go to the heart one, which is in track number 2. And then go to the red burlap, which is in the 3rd one. And then the only thing I'm going to want to try to do is make sure that seam falls to where it's on the back. So I'm going to take this burlap up here, and then that seam will be covered up by the loops on the wreath. And then I'm going to put this, and we are on to using the new strand of red burlap. And you can't even tell that there's a transition when you look at the front of the wreath. So I find that that's the quickest and easiest way to go from one strand to another of the same color burlap. So this is what it looks like about halfway done, and I just have to finish the top half and we can start adding some accessories. So my wreath is done all the way around, and I'll show you how I finish it off. And I had just enough of the heart burlap. You can see I had just this tiny amount left. I did go on to my 3rd strand of the full red burlap, and I probably could have made some of these smaller, but I wanted more of a full red effect. So I'm glad that I got 3 of those. So the same thing that we did at the beginning, I'm going to turn the wreath over, and whenever you have it as full as you want, I might even actually be able to fit one more in there. And you're going to cut your strands off when you're done, and then just tie them to the wreath just how you started out. So on the back, I'm just going to take this excess and I'm just going to cut this off. And then I'm going to take another piece of twine and then just cut a hole here in the burlap so that way I can tie it off and it will stay. So I'm just going to pick a piece here on the wire, and I can tie that down. And again, this will all be on the back against the door or the wall, so you won't see any of this. You can just trim off any edges or pieces of string that are popping up. So I'm going to tie my extra string off. I'm just going to cut down this edge. And then this is what the back looks like. And here is the front of my burlap wreath, and I'm ready to add some decorations. So I'm going to go ahead and get the twine that I used for the bead garland, and I'm going to try to put some of this heart garland and just string it across the center, and then that is going to be my Valentine's wreath for this year. So I got these pre-cut stiffened burlap pieces at Hobby Lobby, and I have just a regular burlap color and also a red burlap, and I'm going to see if I can alternate with the regular burlap and then a red heart and then regular burlap and then another red heart and then with the regular burlap. So hopefully the regular burlap ones end up against the red burlap so you can see them. And then I'm just going to put those on this thinner piece of twine and then just string it across. So for this, I do want to make the holes more delicate because you will be able to see them, and they do need to kind of somewhat be a little bit even so that it hangs nicely. So I'm just going to cut one strand so that I can string my strand through here. So I'm just going to kind of take it through and try to push it through the behind area and pull it through. And then find my hole over here and push it through over here. And then you can see my heart is on this string. So this is what the heart banner looks like that I'm going to be putting across the wreath. And I'm planning on just draping across like this so I can just tie one piece of the twine to the metal on either side. And then my wreath will be ready to go. Okay, and then I have my finished wreath. I just tied it on with a little bow on either side so I can move it around if I want, and there is my heart banner. So I'm gonna go hang it up and you guys can see what it looks like. I think this turned out pretty good and it was pretty quick and easy to make. I hope that the tutorial helped, but let me know if you have any questions down below. The final piece before hanging it up is I'm just going to tie a piece of the twine onto the center of the wreath. So I'm going to find where my approximate center is on the wreath to hang it up. So it's going to be right about here. And then I'm just going to take the twine and push it through the wire. And I'm just going to tie a loop so that way I can hang it up on the door. So I just knotted that on one side and then I'll just pull the loop up here and that is what I will hang it on the nail, or if you have a wreath hook or however you're planning on hanging it. And then that's hidden behind the loops on the wreath as well. So I'm planning on hanging this on our front door, but I thought I would share what it looks like inside since it's evening right now and you can probably see it a little bit better. So there is my Valentine's Day wreath made of 2 different kinds of burlap, and then I just got these burlap hearts to make a burlap banner hanging off the front. All the materials were from Hobby Lobby, and let me know if you have any questions down below. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.